We're in the thick of this 10-minute Tuesdays session. So we're going to be doing another sort of step-by-step 10-minute sketch followed by a 10-minute colouring session. This one has a few interesting challenges. Like a lot of these sessions, time drawings are a really good way of stopping yourself getting hung up on those little details and getting a little bit too obsessed with, I need to get this bit right because then I can get this bit right, and then if I get this bit right, this bit will be right. Like some kind of hideous Gantt chart of despair, so that every single node on that journey has to be just right before you can continue. It's not really like that. Sketching isn't, well, it can be for some people, of course, if you're doing photorealistic stuff, but that's not me. So the point of this is just to say that just go for it. Start there, blah, 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 blah. Enjoy it, and then when it comes to putting colour on, do the same. Just try a splash bit of that on, splash bit of that on, make the values darker as you go. You can start with light tones, work light to dark, dilute washes to like shadow layers. Can't really go wrong, but the point is if you do go wrong, you're gonna learn. That's the point really, is that if you work fast, quickly, and you do the process again and again and again, what you will find is you will make the same mistake once and be annoyed, or you'll make it twice and you'll start to see patterns and your work will change and it will develop and you'll improve. So I'm going to start with pencil, and then I'm going to use my Fude de Mannen Sailor fountain pen. So should we just go for it? Right, I did my timer. I'm using a pencil here. And the reason why I'm using a pencil is because, like I say, I'm not hugely confident with drawing figures. This guy looks like some kind of Greek warrior. This looks like something from Game of Thrones. I think I could bring that out a little bit more. Actually, do you know what? I should just think about those proportions on the face. So I'm trying to get a shape of the head overall, you know, a kind of like outside shape. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll sort of fine-tune the other bits, but the first thing I want to do is get like an overall shape of the head. Okay, so halfway up the head we have the middle of the ear and just above the nostrils. So if we take a line halfway, and then we have the ear here, and I'll put the rest of that detail in, and then the middle of the nostrils, so that's going to be there. The nostril's going to be there, and then let's think about that nose. Again, I'm freestyling this very much. And then that forehead is a slight shape to it like that. Okay, and then the eyes are about here. Alright, and then we have here the tash, the moustache, and you can just see that bottom lip there. Oops. So this is very much just free sketched, if you know what I mean, and I would recommend, if you are not familiar with sketchy figures, which, you know, it's not, as I say, it's not my speciality. I really won't say it is, and I would recommend checking out some of the techniques that are sort of well known for figures and faces. There are a couple of methods that you can use for drawing faces, particularly, that are really quite useful. I'll put those on screen now because I can't remember what they're called. Loomis is one of them, and there's another one which I can't quite remember, but I've used both of them. One of them is quite a detailed construction where you go into quite high levels of detail, and the other one is like a clever little shortcut that enables you to I'm just going to draw the hands as one shape there. Right, so yeah, the Loomis method. Now, because I've been drawing this at an angle, I'm sort of sitting and looking at it like that. You can see there, it's slightly foreshortened, because I'm actually viewing it from there. I'm not viewing it like that. So what I've done is I've made it a bit tall. So what I might do is, actually no, I'm going to leave it. I don't mind that it's like that. I'll make the beard a bit shorter, and I'll just pull that finger up a little bit, move that hand across. Anyway, right, so I've done the rough sketch now. Apart from, I mean, I think it's fine, I quite like it, apart from the fact that I think I've very much lengthened it because, like I say, the angle I'm looking at, God, it sounds like a typical sportsman's excuse, doesn't it? You know, the wrong tyres. I'm going to move that eye down a bit. I'm going to move that down a bit because I'm clearly not happy. Anyway, so I've screwed that up. So let's crack on with some of this line work. Now the hair actually comes out a lot more from the back there. Now this is the Fude pen, which is this bent nib pen. I believe it's Fude is a Japanese term. I believe it means brush, I think, but somebody will always correct me in the comments, which I enjoy. I didn't mean to sound quite as sarcastic as that sounded. I genuinely mean that because I don't confess to knowing everything at all, even though I'd like to think I do. Okay, I'm running out of time with this one. This is what happens when it's a subject that you're not necessarily that familiar with. It can struggle a bit. I need to add in some eyebrows. We don't know about that. Okay, well, it is what it is. One of the things about doing these 10-minute Tuesdays is a little trade secret for you is I don't use every one I record. And it's not because I'm not proud of them. It's just that sometimes I'll do one and I'll think, there's nothing in that. There's no kind of like learning, if you know what I mean. It's just me doing a drawing. So often if there's something I want to draw, what I might do is I might actually sit down. I might sit down and I might draw it, thinking, well, if it turns out, it turns out. But if it doesn't, I'm going to put that beard in. I really don't have to use it in a video. It's amazing when you put the pupil in, all of a sudden it sort of comes to life. The person actually becomes a person. It's weird that. I often, when I'm doing drawings like this, I often think about the fact that the Greek statues and the Roman statues that we associate, you know, these black marble, very cool statues like Michelangelo's David and stuff like that, they are actually painted, or they were painted. So we see these sort of pale, ghostly marble figures, but they would have had so much life in them back in the day. And when you go to these art galleries, you know, in the UK, where you'll see loads of these statues, most of them pilfered from, you know, Greece and Egypt and things. Really, they would have looked so incredibly different to how they appear today. So we have 17 seconds there, and that's time up. So as far as putting some colour on this, I think I will put some colour on it, but I think what I might do is just maybe do some cross-hatching rather than colour. Yeah, I'll do some cross-hatching. So, I mean, I'm going to do it myself. Ugh. I'll just put that on the floor. How's that going now? Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm very quickly going to put some texture in this background. Now I'm going to do some of the horizontal textures because we've got quite a lot of vertical type textures that I'll probably end up using for this. So I'm going to do a generic, almost like a sort of long brick-like pattern. I want to leave some gaps, but not loads. This is an experiment. This is an experiment vaguely based on things that I've seen other artists do. Like all my experiments is I am influenced by what other people do and think, oh, that looks great. I'm going to have a go at that. See, this alone is going to take several minutes. Now, if I don't like this, I can always go the other way. If I want it to be darker or to have more density, like cross-hatching, you can go one way and then the other. We'll speed up. We'll speed up. This nose isn't a brilliant shape, but I might have just made it slightly worse too. So what I might do is I might actually just go the other way and add in some cross-hatches. I think it'd be better if it was a bit darker, but I'm very aware of time. Okay. So we have various areas where I just hold this pen upright and then get some cross-hatching going. And then we have this line that runs down here, and then obviously a load of cross-hatching under here. Okay, so what I might do now is I might rub out the pencil and then see how it looks. So what I'm going to do now is take this white gel pen, and I'm actually going to just reinstate and tweak a few of these lines. There's quite a lot more I could do with this, but I might leave that there. I mean, it's a caricature, isn't it? It's quite fun, really. I think that background's fun. I actually, looking at it, you know, I think there is quite a few points here about values and stuff. There's some quite interesting things happening. I love the background. I think the background works really well, actually. And it's amazing how stuff pops, like how the white pops as soon as you put that black behind. And even some values that are quite dark in the hair, you can still read as hair. Interesting, the quality of the line work with these Fude pens, you know, with this bent nib, you get some really interesting lines. Come on, focus on the thing. So when we're aiming to improve, what we're aiming to become is comfortable with our style. We're aiming to finish a drawing, it feels good, you know? That's, for me, I think, is the point when you really feel like you're getting into it. You really feel like you're learning. When you stop being afraid to experiment and play, and you start to do a sketch and you look at it and you smile, because you know that's your language. Now that changes throughout the whole of your life, so you'll never solve art. There is never a game over screen. There isn't a big final art boss. There isn't many bits in our life where we can just do what we want. I mean, you know, you could get a bit of paper, you could scrunch it up, throw it over your shoulder, smash your face into it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, that's the point about that moment with you and your sketch pad. You can just have fun. So there's no wrong, there's no right, there's just playing, you know? So do like and subscribe and all that jazz. Drop a comment. If you want longer versions of my videos, head over to my Patreon, where you can get all sorts of interesting stuff there. And I just want to say, I wouldn't read this unless you're really interested in butter. It's compelling, but it's just about butter.